Hello everyone, welcome to Life Stories. My name is Trent, and as usual, we are back with more stories from Reddit/entitledparents. You guys know the drill, let's get started. Our first story of the day is titled, Lady Gets Mad That I Bought My Son an Airplane Seat. So, I have a son who's currently 2.5 years old, but we've been traveling by plane since he was 6 months old, due to our living an 18-hour drive from my family, parents, younger sibling, grandparents, etc. In the US, you generally don't need to buy a plane ticket for a child under 2 years old. You can buy a seat, like if you want to bring your baby in your carrier or just want to use a car seat. But they can also be considered a lap child and sit in your lap for free. When my son was about 1.5 years old, we were flying back to my hometown to go visit my family. We were flying on an airline named the opposite of Northeast. On this airline, an adult with a child under 6 years old, if I recall correctly, gets on board right before the A1 to 10-ish boarding numbers and before the A11 to 60 or whatever it is, which was helpful for me to get some extra time to find a seat and settle with my kid. Now, he was under 2, so he could have flown for free and sat in my lap. But after the flight we had taken a few months before that, where he was hell on wheels and I was mortified by how terrible we probably made our roommates' flights, I decided to buy him a plane ticket so we could have a little more room for our things. Diaper bag, toys to entertain him, snacks, juice, breast milk, blanket, etc. I hated to feel like I was inconveniencing other passengers with my child when I had to keep him to such a small confined space to begin with. It was better to give him some extra room in the form of his own seat so as not to crowd the others when he wanted to get out of my lap or try to look out the window, etc. Plus, then I could sit between him and provide a buffer for his wayward feet. He was generally, and still is, a really good little traveler, but every 1.5-year-old has their moments, as other parents can understand. I swear I do my best to keep him under control. If you've ever flown with a child under 2 as a lap child, you should know that when you go to check your bags at the airport, you get a normal boarding pass for yourself as well as a boarding pass for the child that clearly says lap infant across the top of it. Otherwise, if you buy your child a ticket, they get a normal boarding pass like everybody else with your boarding group/number. This airline has rows of 3 seats on either side of a very narrow aisle. I tend to stick to the far back rows, just in case I need to leave the seat with him when we're in the air, and also to try and put some distance between us and other passengers. So we board with family boarding. I grab 2 seats all the way in the very back row, shove all of our stuff into the seats, and go about trying to settle our things in. My son decided to sit by the seat by the window and was watching the ground crew do their thing. I was sitting in the middle seat beside him. The aisle seat was empty, and the plane started to fill up. But again, we were in the very last row, so most people found a seat before they made it to us, and or saw I had a kid with me and decided to sit elsewhere. I can't blame them. When the plane was about 3/4 full, I hear someone say, excuse me, in a rather snobby voice. I turn to see a woman, maybe 30s, I'm in my early 20s, with a little girl, maybe 7 to 8 years old. Before I could even respond, the entitled mother demands that I move to the aisle seat and take my son with me so that her daughter could sit by the window. I want to say that if my son was flying free and was a lap infant, I wouldn't have had an issue with moving to the aisle seat to let the little girl sit by the window, if the mom had asked me nicely. However, I had purchased 2 tickets with my own money, which isn't easy to swing when you're a single mom. And even if I moved to the aisle seat, my son would have the middle seat, and she'd have to sit apart from her daughter. I was not going to be used as a babysitter for someone else's kid on a flight, even if I didn't have my own child to deal with. I tried to explain this to her. Went a little something like this. Oh, I would, but I bought 2 seats, and even if I moved, there'd only be 1 seat open, so you might want to try somewhere else so you can both sit together. There were still entire rows that were empty on the plane at this point. The entitled mother says, "You're lying. He's clearly not even 2 yet, and under 2 they fly free and sit on your lap. Please move now." Yes, they can fly for free in your lap, but I specifically bought him his own ticket so he could have his own seat and more room. There are several rows a bit farther forward that are still empty and have window seats. Well, he's small. You should just hold him. My daughter wants to sit by the window, and I need to be in the last row. So just hold him so he can sit here. The very back row on the other side was taken up already. I'm really sorry, but no, we need this extra space. I bought and paid for the extra seat. I'm not going to give it up just because you feel entitled to this space. Our things are already settled and stowed away. At this point, EM is working herself up into a tizzy and has caught the attention of the older couple sitting across the aisle. The husband tries to tell this EM to just choose somewhere else to sit, but she snapped at him to mind his own business. Kinda hard inside such a small space. So when she turned her attention back to me, and now my fussing child because this strange lady is yelling at mommy, the wife waved down one of the flight attendants who came over. And that went along these lines. "Hello, are we all okay over here? No, this girl refuses to put her son in her lap and make room for us, even though he's clearly less than 2 and can fit in her lap." The flight attendant turning to me, "Ma'am, is your child a lap infant?" "He is less than 2 years old." "See, I told you, make her move." But I did purchase him a ticket because I knew he would appreciate having some extra space to get out of my lap. I had grabbed both of our normal paying customer boarding passes and handed them to the flight attendant. "See? That doesn't prove anything. They give boarding passes for lap infants." The flight attendant, turning back to EM, "Yes, they do give boarding passes for lap infants, but this is not a lap infant boarding pass. So I'm sorry, but she paid for that seat and there's no assigned seating, so you can't ask her to move." EM started going crazy, screaming at me, at the flight attendant. Her kid is crying, but I think it may have been more out of embarrassment than that I/the flight attendant was telling them no. Anyways, the flight attendant ended up threatening to have her removed from the plane by air marshals if she didn't find a different seat. EM huffed angrily, promised to write a terrible review, and told the flight attendant specifically she was going to call opposite of Northeast Airlines corporate office and have her fired for treating EM and her daughter so poorly. The daughter did get her window seat further up the plane. The flight attendant rolled her eyes, where only I and the older couple could see, and she apologized for it. The rest of the flight went smoothly. My kid laughed when the plane took off and then passed out in his own seat with his head on my leg about 20 minutes into the flight, and slept the whole time. And the flight attendant gave me a complimentary glass of wine once he was asleep. I told the pilots at the end of the flight how wonderful she is. I saw EM inside the airport afterwards as we made our way to baggage, berating a cleaning staff member because the airport Burger King was closed at 11:30 p.m., as if the poor staff member even had control over that to begin with. I pointed a TSA person towards them and went on my merry way to see my not-so-baby sister. This was about a year ago, and I haven't thought about it really since, until one of my coworkers said something that reminded me of it, so I decided to share. Sorry it was so long. Of all these stories I've read and through personal experience, I have yet to see a flight attendant that isn't super sweet. Those people deserve raises across the board. Must be such a difficult job. And with that long one out of the way, we still got time for one more. So we're gonna finish off today with insane entitled parent gets mad I won't date her daughter. A little bit of background. I was at a school dance with all of my friends. Me, my girlfriend, my friends, their girlfriends, and we were all sitting around chilling when I decided to go to the bathroom. The bathroom is down a hallway that runs through another hallway, and so when I turned the corner, there were girls taking pictures. The mother asked if I would take a picture of her and her daughters, and any one of her and her daughter's friends. Even though I had to pee really bad, I said yes. Insane mom says, "Hey, can you take a few pictures real quick?" Insane mom's daughter says, "No, Mom, it's fine, don't bother." "Oh, it's fine. This nice-looking boy doesn't care, right?" Sure, I just have to make it fast. I gotta pee." I take a few pictures. Now, the daughter is a very pretty girl, but again, I already have a girlfriend and am not interested. The girls start talking, and I hand the mom her phone back. "You look very handsome in that tux," she says. Thank you." "You know, my daughter's single right now. Would you be interested in—" The daughter chimes in. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Oh, come on, sweetie. You're never going to find a replacement for your ex with that attitude. So what do you say? Would you date my daughter?" I'm sorry. I have a girlfriend, and plus your daughter doesn't seem very interested." "Oh, don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she wants. Now come on, give her a chance." "Mom, what the hell are you doing? Stop!" I have to go pee. I'll be back." You're not going anywhere until you give me an answer. I gave you an answer, ma'am. Now can you please leave me alone? You're so ungrateful. You must have awful parents if they ever taught you to know someone's worth. I don't know what she meant by that. I walk off and go into the bathroom and do my business. Once I walk out, the mother is gone and the daughter stops me. Hey, I am so sorry about my mom. She's really bitter after, insert her ex's name here, dumped me. No problem. This happens all the time. Hey, don't tell insert my girlfriend's name here. I don't want her to think anything. Trust me, I didn't plan to. If there was anything I would never have agreed to when I was in high school, it would be letting my parents be matchmaker for me. Hell no. Anyway, with that one out of the way, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning into Life Stories. You know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe for all the Reddit content we got cooking up coming your way. My name has been Trent, and I hope to see you guys later.